This is a homebrew podcast.
Ah, Nix. Fancy seeing you here, back at the Whispering Winds. I was actually just looking at something. I'm trying to get reservations for this new establishment opening next week. It's called The Rambling Rodeo. It's owned by Mordsai, the same owner of Caviar Courtyard. Have you heard of this?
I'm sorry, did you say Caviar Courtyard? He owns the Caviar Courtyard.
It's one of my favorite establishments, yes.
Why? No, it's horrible. It's the most miserable place. I don't even know how he's enough funds for a new place. Rambling Rodeo? What's the
Rodeo? Theme? Well, it seems that they have some type of animatronic of sorts, some type of construct shaped as a bull that one can ride while you are there.
While you eat? Okay. Did you say... did you say Mordsai? Isn't he a mortician?
Yes, the restaurateur. A mortician? I thought that they just owned the Caviar Courtyard. You're saying they're a mortician on the side?
I'm very sure they have a whole funeral parlor and everything right down the street.
Down on the same block? That seems a strange My God. You don't believe there's some connection to the recent murders, the lorekeeper, Mordsai, the Rambling Rodeo, and the Caviar Courtyard, do you?
I mean, that would explain a lot of what happened at the Caviar Courtyard, actually. So, yes, I wanted to die while I was there, so it makes sense.
Who did you have as your server? I typically request Grace Downer. She's quite pleasant.
Pleasant? I don't know if that's the words I would use. Yes. Let's not talk about that. Mechanical, constructible restaurant owned by a mortician.
Well, at the very least, I'd like to check it out. I'll try to get us reservations. How does that sound?
Why not? It couldn't be worse.
I'll reach out to Mordsai. Mordsai, wherever you are, thank you for continuing to do what you do. Whether that's killing people, being a mortician, or a restaurateur, keep up the good work.
Welcome back to Mythcraft, the podcast, The Ties That Bind. Let's meet our unscrupulous spies, Maggie.
Nia Coraheen. If my four brothers taught me anything about men, then I'm certain Rindo has a crush.
Mal.
Rindo, got to find out more about Fidelity somehow.
Roger.
Geist. Maybe I should order from the Caviar Courtyard again tonight.
Alex.
Gregory Arso. The thought of a stakeout makes me hungry. In for something at the Caviar Courtyard.
And Andy.
Nix. Stephen was actually kind of sweet.
And I'm your MC, Nathan. Let's jump in. Last time on The Ties That Bind, there was a disaster of a double date. Geist cultivated his informant network. Rindo and Nia returned to Arya's toast, and Nia struck a dangerous bargain. This episode is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be our first montage episode, so we're pulling back from the players, from the characters just a little bit to see kind of a broad strokes overview of the events of the city over the coming weeks. So at certain instances, we will zoom in on specific characters on a particular day or moment and see what they're doing. Otherwise, we're going to be a little bit more top level this episode. Having said that, I do want to touch in on Nia and Rindo immediately after their journey to Arya's toast. As you leave the premises and make your way back to the Cobbler's cause on the evening of that fateful encounter, is there any conversation or any debrief that the two of you want to have with one another?
With me having been standing so close the whole time, would Rindo have been able to pick up on the whole conversation? Was Arya trying to be hushed about any parts of it?
Arya was not trying to be hushed. I think it's safe to say you heard everything.
Nia, miss,
Yes?
how you feeling?
To be perfectly honest, this, just a little tipsy. Just a little bit. I've managed to keep my wits about me, but I don't know that I could walk a straight line if I needed to. However, as for the conversation I just had, I think I have a plan, and it might still come back to bite me, but I think I have some options for how I can accomplish all of the things that Arya wants while still getting what we need. And hopefully without causing any issues. That rascally pact. Strange.
So-
that woman,
Yeah.
without the arms. I don't know if it's right to say that, but I mean, it's kind of hard not to have noticed, right? She had no arms.
Yeah, about that pact, I know Arya said bad things would happen for violating it. I didn't participate in that, so I think pretty reasonable loophole to share information what needs sharing. I can.
I suppose that's very true. Right. I think that could make that happen. Do you think, as far as like the parts of it where I'm going to have to, produce, she wanted a list from Stacy. Do you think, I'm wondering if I couldn't maybe have Stacy almost reproduce a list that's falsified, because then it would sort of be her list, but not the list. Do you think that would get us around the pack bindings and whatnot? I feel like I remember there being a lot of specificity around it having to be the actual thing. I was very distracted by the no
Yeah.
arms, if I'm being quite honest, Rendo.
I was also a bit distracted.
Oh?
It's nothing. I just, from there, I never met her before, never seen her before.
I see. So
Did
you
you-
weren't
did you
familiar
get-
with her?
Yeah. Did you get?
I mean, the way you looked at her, I mean, I could have sworn that maybe you were
I
old
didn't
chums.
didn't look at her a certain way. What? No.
Pretty sure
I
there was a
just-
bit of a look there.
I don't know what you mean, miss. Just
Little glimmer
seeing
behind the eye.
someone I ain't never seen before. But did you get any sort of vibes from her that, I don't know, maybe she ain't want to be there?
Well, I mean, does anybody really want to be there unless they're sitting, at one of those tables? They seem to be the only people who potentially had any power in the room.
I mean, there was a time that I did want to be there,
I suppose that's fair.
but I didn't really know anything else. Didn't seem
Right.
there was much better out there for me.
I don't know if I could say that I could tell that about her, but she definitely seemed sort of, I don't know, a bit dead behind the eyes. She
Right,
was,
like she weren't on the same level as them, right? Like,
oh,
they're still
certainly not.
above
No,
her.
certainly not. There was a brief moment where I thought she might have even been like disassociating maybe, but it's always hard to tell.
I really feel like we should help her somehow. I don't know.
Perhaps we can find some sort of way of working that into the grander plan. I mean, we have some
Yeah.
things that kind of need to take priority in that way, but I think anything's possible. And I mean, you clearly like her, so you're certainly not going to forget about her.
Shut it. I do not. I just don't like seeing someone like her in a position she ain't want to be in. That's all.
Oh, Rendo, you are setting me up for so many jokes right now with the way you're
Oh.
phrasing it.
I think you're making things up, miss, and we should get you some water. I think you need some water and some
Probably. That's
sleep.
probably wise, maybe. Yes. All right. I'll tell you everything. And I think she would, on the walk to the house, just regale him with as much as she could tell him, knowing, again, what he knows as far as, like, I guess the pack and how it could eventually affect her. She doesn't want to say anything that's going to cause her harm or discomfort, and or potentially Sheldon harm or discomfort therein. So she would try to work around that as best she could.
Yeah, so we'll pull out there as they're heading back to the Cobbler's Cause, having that conversation. And now we'll look at the party as a whole and the city as a whole over the coming 3 days, which would be Sunday the 28th through Silday the 30th of the month. The ladies' night that you are all planning, and or at least some of you are planning, is scheduled based on our previous conversations for the first day of the month of Ashidari. So that's going to be after this little bit. So we've got Sunday, Prime Day, Sil Day, and then we've got Ladies' Night.
Perfect.
I have some general thoughts for things that can happen, but I do want to put the ball in each of your court. Let's roll initiative just to make that a little bit easier. This is obviously not combat. Seriously, listeners, do not worry when I say roll initiative in this context.
We've rolled initiative so many times and only once it's been for actual combat.
Right.
Oh, wow.
5.
I got a 2.
We're winning.
Not the worst.
It's a 13 for Geist.
13 for Gregory.
It's a 12 for Nia.
So, Gregory, over the 3 days, Sunday through still day, what is Gregory getting up to?
He's trying to keep it business as usual, keep a low profile, go make face at work. He needs to go home, at least at one point, and check in with his dad, talk to him, make sure he's as okay as he can be, give him a little hard time that he's not taking off work, try to comfort his mom, things like that.
Let's come back to that in just a second, because we'll do a short scene there, but let's see what else he's doing.
Yeah, I think mostly just trying to keep it business as usual. He's really just trying to keep a low profile. He feels really freaked out. He's super overwhelmed with everything that's happening. He's gotten thrown into a life of crime and lying and deception and everything. So he's kind of laying low to not really distance himself, but make himself be like less associated with, I don't even know if associated, but he doesn't want to seem like he's up to anything with anyone specific. He's really trying to give that appearance, keeping up with appearances.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what's going on.
Head
I'm just
down, don't
working.
look at me.
Exactly. Like, I'm not looking at you.
I
I'm
have
looking
no
at
friends.
me. I work, I get my tacos, I say hi to my sister, I go home.
You know this guy and his Taco Tuesdays.
Exactly.
Never misses. Never misses.
Perfect. So family dinner would be on Sill Day. That'd be at your parents' place. Tristan, of course, would be there as well. Can you give a quick description of Bernard and Southie, or Southie?
Southie, yeah. You can call her Sal.
Just give them give the audience a quick description of their appearance and demeanor.
Okay, so his dad works in the mines. They're both humans, obviously. Him and his sister are humans. So they're humans. His dad is a little bit of a taller, kind of bulkier guy. He works in the mines, so he's, built up some muscle and everything. Now that he is sick, though, he's looking a little more frail than he has before. His skin is a little bit more pale. The soot on his skin is a little bit darker, just because he's pale, obviously. His mom is a little more, I wouldn't say like meek, but she's more like a smaller frame, probably around 5'5", 5'4"-ish. She works with richer families in Prosperity Heights, so she's more of a housekeeper, maid, nanny type. Yeah, they have a really contrasting dynamic, but, opposites attract. He comes in covered in dirt. She cleans up the dirt after him, things like that. They both got brown hair. His dad's hair is salt and pepper. His mom's starting to gray. They are in their mid-50s, but they've had a safe life in Rumble Row. Nothing too dangerous. They haven't had a lot of stress or anything. You don't really see any deep wrinkles on them, nothing like that. They look pretty good for their age, all things considered. His dad looks a little maybe more worse for wear since he has had a life of more physical labor. But yeah, those are Bernard and Southie.
Perfect. And the typical conversation that your family normally has would transpire over dinner. A lot of small talk, a little bit of roundabout pressure for Tristan to find a different place to work. And Tristan keeps deflecting or changing the topic. It's a lot of what is normal. I'll also give you a chance to speak directly to Bernard as he's in the kitchen taking the dishes back in after dinner.
And I wonder if we would have had that conversation during dinner. No, you know what? We kept it light during dinner, and now I'm going to get to the hard stuff after we've eaten. So I'll go in there. I'll close the
Perfect.
door behind me to the dining room and be like, Dad, dinner was great. Thanks again for having me. It's always nice to see you.
Always nice to see you too.
That's
Always nice to see
exactly
you.
what I'm talking about. You can't... Dad, I know about your sins.
Of course. I'm not trying to hide it, but I'm not gonna stop working. Family needs money. Gotta put food on the table.
Yeah, but if you keep doing this, you're going to work yourself to your deathbed. Even sooner. You need to do something else. Anything else. Maybe we have something at the Red Line. Maybe you can do something secretarial. Maybe we have janitorial. I don't know. Anything. Move in with me.
You would see the grip on the plate tightening as you're speaking.
Son, you take care of yourself. You always have. I know you'll continue to. Take care of Tristan too. Of course. Don't worry about me and your mom.
You say that like it's a final wish or something. It's not that. Can't be that.
You're saying no, you don't you don't want a good life for yourself, for your sister?
Of course I do. You say it with it's so serious. You're saying it as if you're on your deathbed and you're looking at me one last time and you're just saying,
I'm not
take care of yourself.
I'm not saying that at all, no. I'm just saying, don't worry about me.
How you are right now, how could I not worry about you? I'm serious.
Everyone in the mines gets tuberculosis. It's just a matter of time. We'll figure it out.
Then it's time to get out. That's what we figured out.
Listen, Southie and I are in talks with Montavier Hospital. We'll figure something out.
You have to let me take care of you too. You said take care of myself and Tristan. You have to let me take care of you too.
Son, that's not your job. I'm your dad. It's my job to make sure you're all right. Listen. Montavier Hospital has a variety of repayment plans and options, so I'm sure we'll find something that works for us.
If you need anything, you know exactly where I am, and I want to help in any way I can. And I'm serious. Move in with me. Let me help cover the bills. You can sell this house. I know wouldn't be easy. It would be tight for space, but I'd rather have you more comfortable and not having to stress about bills and working and everything else instead of working yourself to the bone.
He is silent for a considerable time. We'll say,
Gregory, I want to live life on my own terms.
And don't we all? But are your own terms cutting it short? You want it to be cut shorter than it could be? Is that what you want?
Of course, that's not what I want, son.
It's not my decision to make for you, but I need you to know how I feel. You have options. You're not alone. You have Mom, you have me, Tristan. We'll always be here.
that last statement seems to hit him pretty hard.
I'll just grab him and just embrace him for a huge hug. Gregory's just completely teary-eyed at this point now.
I love you, son.
I love you too, Dad. It's, you raised me to take care of myself, but at some point, you guys are gonna have to let us take care of you. The cycle of life.
You're a good man. Your mom raised you right.
Hey, you raised me right, Dad.
Enough about me. I know we've been dancing around this all dinner. You're staying out of trouble, right?
Oh yeah, as much as I can be. Gotta go to some unfavorable places to get some information from informants, but keep my nose clean as much as I can.
Right. All right. Guess that's all I can ask. You always were so perceptive.
I think we'll zoom out from the kitchen at that point in the small townhome under the train that's rattling in the track overhead this neighborhood.
No, you always said we did grow up on the right side of the tracks.
Geist, what are you up to over the few days?
So, Nathan, I have a few items on my list for Geist, but I think if we go in order of priority, Geist wants to make sure that he's focusing on the information networks that he's been building up, really focusing on the individuals who are currently unhoused, that he's been providing meals and clothes to, making sure that they have, sustenance and supplies so they can continue to bring him information. The youth network, right? The Dick Dilettantes that are going to be doing some great work across the city. I want to make sure that I stay connected to them as well, along with the shopkeepers, Ashtax in Bellowtown, all over the place. I know that I need to be prepping for the stakeout with Gregory. I don't think we're going to get to that quite yet. I know that's coming up in a little while, but I want to make sure that there's anything that I need to get supplies for. That's taken care of. Definitely trying to continue some work for the Gentleman Brigands. There's a couple of things here. First and foremost, I know I've got a message that I need to finish decoding so I can get a better understanding of what Molitor is actually going on. That's part of our deal, part of our arrangement. But I also want to make sure I get a touch point with them relatively soon. I've made inroads with the Cobblers, and now I need to make sure that, one, they know that I've been essentially caught by the McDoverns, and I need to get further clarification about what they think my current role is right now, what I need to do next. I've got more things, but I'll pause there for you, Nathan.
Okay, so one thing I want to ask, given your housing situation currently, how much would Geist trust Archie? What is Archie involved in, and what are you keeping secret from him?
Yeah, my new roommate Archie, I want him to feel included. I want him to feel important, but that is primarily with respect to work in and around the Whispering Winds. I'm not going to be filling him in on my connection to the Gentleman Brigands, the connection to the Cobblers. He is just additional eyes and ears and a helpful shopkeeper on the side. So he's aware, he's around, he's cognizant, but I wouldn't say that he's part of the inner circle of our conversations by any means.
For sure, but he's also one of the original unhoused fellows that you got as eyes and ears on the street, so he'd be familiar with those groups at least, although not the Cobblers and the Brigands, right?
100%. It's more or less, he knows that I've asked for information on things and I want him to continue doing that. Am I going to be bringing him along to any conversations with the quote party or with anyone over the Cobblers? No.
You don't want us to meet your new friend?
I mean, there's a time and place, maybe at next week's brunch at the Rambling Rodeo.
Hey, Pete, can I bring a +1? Okay, and this is something that you and I have talked about. I'm not sure if it's really come up before or not, but as we're going through a handful of days where things are a little bit calmer and you've got a little bit more time, would Geist be returning to some of his vigilante activities from prior to the campaign? And if so, how physical is he getting?
How physical is the real question here? I don't think you can take the vigilantism out of Geist, but I think you can dial it back a couple of notches. So is he still doing his own personal stakeouts? 100%. Is he still looking for odd jobs from various groups, organizations, people who are in need of aid and assistance in Dirge? 100%. Is he still kicking down doors in the middle of the night and busting up occult groups or people who are dabbling in rituals they shouldn't be? At least not this week, because that seems a little bit too risky given how many pots he currently has his hand in. So yes, but to a lesser extent.
Okay. And so while all of this is going on, that's a lot of, like you said, a lot of pots that you've got your hand in. So while Geist is working on all of these over the few days, just top level gathering information, I want to quickly bring Nyx in, as I know that she's also involved with the youths. So, Andy, what is Nyx doing in this time?
Nyx is going to be very involved with the youth over these couple of days. She is basically going to spend her days as part of them. So she's given herself a name. Her name is Moose to these kids. Nice. And Moose is bringing them around Dirge, causing trouble. After the date and everything that happened, and Steven and how she's feeling, she would probably be putting a little bit of distance between herself and the rest of the party. So a lot of the teens she would actually be dragging away from Geist Shop to avoid him and any interaction there. And she would really be trying to do a couple things, set up Dickie as her number 2. Dickie's got to be in charge.
Little Dickie's rising in the ranks.
Little Dickie's rising in the ranks. And she'd also be trying to weed out which teenagers she could actually rely upon to do things and which ones are just dumb teenagers. So kind of picking out the group where this is going to be her select few that she can talk to, that she can give orders to, basically, and trust that they'll be done. So I do think there's going to be some interaction with Geist, but not anything too major. Though she would be shifting the art from Dick's to something much nicer. So there would end up being a nicer
Beyond
mural on Geist's wall. Yes.
Okay, and just remind me the end goal with the teens. Like, to the best of my understanding, you're setting them up as a scapegoat to cause fear, to help with the protection racket, to help, like, relocate DPD when you need to.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I think right now she's primarily look at using them more like informants. So teenagers can go a lot of places and be unnoticed. They're just dumb kids hanging out in the streets. And she's trying to set them up to gather information, to hear things, and to probably spread rumors, kind of like she does, and make them what the group needs. So she wants to have them primed and ready that if they need to cause trouble, she can have them go cause trouble. If they need to be a distraction for the police, she can have them go be a distraction for the police. So I don't think with the racketeering and stuff that were there yet that we actually need them causing a bunch of trouble. Yeah, go paint dicks all over the city. But in terms of real trouble, that's not quite there yet until it gets to that point where it's like, hey, some of these people need extra convincing. Let's sick the teens at them.
Perfect. Okay. So Before we move to Nia, a couple more quick notes for Geist. Geist would be familiar with the Gentleman Brigands' methods of operation, so you know that they move slowly and they move deliberately. I would just note that your communication with them and them getting you more information is always in progress. It just may be a while before you hear from them.
Yeah, I think that's completely reasonable. He knows to expect a little bit of a wait here, so I think he would have started the messaging process earlier in the week, knowing that it could take a couple of days, couple of weeks, depending on what they've got going on. They got tons of stuff on their plate too.
Perfect. And were there any other things you wanted to attend to prior to moving on?
A couple of like moderate minor priority things. So if they happen this week, fine. If they happen next week, that's also completely fine. But Geist wants to continue to do some of his own, what I'm going to call Molitor research, right? He knows names, he knows locations. He wants to do some additional digging and diving into them, and kind of connecting this to his outing that's coming up with Nyx. Maybe he goes and stakes out the building that he was essentially imprisoned in and kept hostage for a period of time. See if it is still holed up by Molitor, seeing if it's a viable place to show someone else, to explore, if you're going to bring somebody into that important part of your past. And along the same lines of thinking where I'm going to be taking Nyx, I'm staking out the old buildings of Molitor because Nyx had certainly asked to see something that was important to Geist. I also remember that I have the additional 3 pieces of the listening device, bringing my total up to 6. So with some of the spare time, if I am able to put them together as a whole set and then reset them so I can blank it. I think I've left them in my shop long enough, and while they were helpful to maybe do some false planting of information, it's too risky. So I want to get those blanked, get them reset, and possibly have them ready to go so I can use them myself.
You certainly can do that over the few days. It's a pretty straightforward process once all 6 pieces are together. So consider those reset. You are bonded to that thorn earring item now.
Again, I know there's NPCs to follow up. Slaughter's been mentioned, but I think we can work that in at a later time. And last but certainly not least, I definitely need to ensure that I'm continuing to train my trash griffins and ensuring that I'm keeping them armed with small knives and blades and makeshift shivs. Because I think they deserve it, they need it, and I'm trying to make sure that the southerlies don't encroach too far into the northerlies terrain.
Perfect. So, Nia, what would you be up to over these 3 days between the incident at Arya's Toast on one end and Ladies' Night bookending the other end of this time period?
Ladies' Night. So I think she definitely, again, would go over everything with Rindo in that walk and figure out the best ways and workarounds to communicate what had happened to the rest of the cheeky cobblers with Rindo's assistance. Part of that would be creating this list for Arya, which she would work with Stacy with, I think. And that is genuinely just so that as part of that pact where it is going to be Stacy's list. To her mind, it's like, all right, it'll be Stacy's list. It's just going to be a different one that she has written, but it's in her handwriting, and we're gonna have that be the one now that she keeps in her whatever it was. I can't remember if it was like her Bible or what book she kept it in, but
yeah,
you know, I'm gonna tell her you need to take your actual list out of that book. This book is now gonna be for this new list. We're just gonna do this for overnight, maybe, just to cover any bases in that way. So I think that would be some background housekeeping that she'd be doing, and then she'd want to be planning for the ladies' night with Rindo and hopefully Nyx. She'd like to get Nyx's involvement since she seemed to have some opinions about the signage. She doesn't want her to come in and think it's boring.
Nyx would be very attached to Nia right now.
Oh, okay, there you go. Let's plan a ladies' night, I guess. Right, so let's think. We need to have a couple of signature cocktails. We need to make sure that the marketing is planned and on lock. I was thinking about maybe even going around to some of the local shops and seeing if they'd make little gift bags or something for the ladies. We could have maybe a little raffle or something. And you're looking at me like I am a talking tinker right now. What's that face for?
Do we have the money to do that?
I guess I didn't think about that. I was just told to plan, and this is how I've always planned things. So, you make an excellent point. Okay.
I mean, Geist's got his shop. Maybe he can set up some sort of gift
and he knows
bags.
a lot of people with shops. Oh, that's very smart, Rendo. We could have Geist talk to all of his other little shopkeep friends, and they could all, like, we could, like, basically make him make them. He's got a lot of sway, right?
I mean, you just use it as a marketing ploy, right? You say, hey, donate some things for a raffle, we'll put your name on the basket, and people will know your shop.
Yes, exactly. All right, I can plan to talk to Geist about that. And we can get that organized for sure. We've got a few days. That should be plenty of time. You had some opinions about the signage before, and I want to honor that. What did you think we should have it look like?
I just didn't want it to be like posh, rich people. I want it to be like, I'm gonna go here and let my hair down and get messy because it's fun. I don't want it to be like, oh, I have to wear a really nice dress and be proper.
Well, I don't think... How close is Rendo? Are they, like, at the table, or...
Rendo, how close do you want to be?
He's here for the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Because it's his
Fair.
bar. But he's not... He's, like,
I think...
uncomfortable.
Well, I don't think... Rendo, I don't want you to take this personally, but I don't think anyone's going to think they need to dress up to come here, regardless of the signage outside.
Oh, yeah. No offense. It's always been a pretty casual place.
All right.
So.
But I hear what you're saying, and maybe it isn't quite the right vibe.
The signs can look nice. You can do whatever you want, just not like rich people font, is all I'm saying.
I'll have to make some calls, but I'll cancel the calligraphers.
So we don't want to fancy it up.
No, we're going to fancy it up. I just don't want people not to come because they think they don't fit.
Oh.
Poor police
We're needing
officers.
to draw,
Okay.
I think, a fine line between fancy and fun, is what I'm hearing.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
You're going to come,
All
you're
right.
going to be a lady, you're going to be respected, it's going to be wonderful. But also, we're just going to gossip and let our hands down and
All right.
get messy over lots of alcohol.
So
And ice luge.
Yes, the ice luge. I shan't forget that. Right there.
I'm not a lady. Should I not
That's
be
the point,
here?
Rendo. No.
I-
You can be the
Okay.
focal point, Rendo.
Yeah, you're the eye candy, Rendo.
Oh. I don't think. I mean, I guess not really sure how to be candy.
Rendo, just be yourself and smile and be polite and
Yes.
offer tiny bears that will go really far. And you don't have to change anything, you just have to be you. Trust me, it will go a very long way if you're just yourself.
Just myself.
Okay.
Did you want to maybe come up with the signature beverages, Rendo?
I was thinking a little bit while you twos were talking. I got one called Rose Petal Breeze. Does that
That's
sound
wonderful. That's actually
drinkable? All right,
much
all
better than I
Sounds
expected for you to come up with.
lovely.
That's wonderful.
I don't know what I'll put in it, but I mean, the name's half the drink, right?
It's enough alcohol that they don't care is basically what you need.
At the very least, we'll just put a rose petal on top of it and that'll be enough.
That's true.
You can get away with so much with the right garnishment.
Just make it pink.
I can do pink, I think. I'll have to see what I got in my stores.
What was the second one?
That's all I got so far.
Oh.
We should
Probably
have-
something floral. I feel
Right.
like ladies like flowers.
Right, yes, and
Not
and
lilacs.
No,
not lilacs.
That's a bit.
Okay.
It's a bit grandmotherly, yes.
Right. What about lavender?
Maybe. That kind of reminds me of soap.
I always think about it's like sleep. Makes me tired.
What about just something sparkly and fun? We could come up with a name. Just make it blue. Everybody likes blue. The fucking Caviar Courtyard had a blue drink and hated it, but blue is the way
Oh,
to
I
go.
hate
I've
that
heard
place.
of that. The thing
It's
is
gotta be
giant. I've heard.
Better than the Caviar Courtyard.
Yeah, right?
Oh, certainly.
One of them. Put sparkles in it. I don't know.
All right.
I bet we could put sparkles in it. Oh, you've given me an idea now. She's going to start furiously writing down again. All right. I've got so many plans.
Like
So many good
nighttime dream,
ideas.
something like that. Make it blue, put sparkles in it,
Be pretty.
Okay.
glitter. It's edible sometimes.
So all of this planning will merge into the actual Ladies' Night itself in just a moment. I just want to give both Nyx and Rindo the opportunity to develop anything else over this time period if desired.
In terms of Ladies' Night, Nyx will be using her nighttime working at Rhonda's to try to pinpoint any police that come in there.
Working with Chastity and Rocky to maintain that.
So
yeah.
building up that list and then using that also to get the word out about Ladies' Night, regardless of who comes in. If it's a lady, she will mention Ladies' Night. If it's a man, she will still mention Ladies' Night and be like, hey, send your ladies. She will. So she'll be using her nights at Rhonda's to help market.
Perfect. Anything extra from Rindo or just planning for Ladies' Night?
He wants to talk to Geist at some point, but he's not sure exactly how to bring it up. So he's kind of trying to take his mind off of Fidelity and that agreement for a little bit and focus more on prepping for Ladies' Night. I think he would probably go out and buy a spool of pink ribbon of some kind and just kind of try to tie little bows on the sconces. He's thinking of different drinks to put on the menu board, things that he can make that won't taste bad. Because usually he just kind of serves beer in various size glasses.
Well, if he doesn't instigate a conversation with Geist at this point, then we can circle back to that in the next stretch of days.
Yeah, I think he's thinking about it, but he's wanting to try to focus on the more pressing matter at hand, which is Ladies' Night.
Perfect. So that brings us to the first day of the grand month of Ashiaderi, and Ladies' Night is upon us. I will paint in broad strokes. If you want to fill in a little bit more detail, then I'll let you do that in just a minute. But effectively, this is going to be a decent turnout. There's going to be especially a lot of off-duty cops or the spouses of cops that are at Rindo's. And so chatting them up over the course of the night is going to be pretty easy. The degree of success and the degree of confidence that is placed in the new lease and in the people that are putting on this party is going to come down to charisma checks.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
just charisma. So that'll be from Nyx, Rindo, and Nia.
Please no.
In Rindo's case, if you want to do intellect instead, if you have brewing.
It's not better.
Okay, well, I tried to throw
Can I
it.
argue on behalf of Rendo that Rendo's allowed to use strength because Rendo's here for eye candy?
I was going to say, Mia would have made sure to get him a really tight shirt for the evening.
We're showing off those muscles and we're...
I would have found one of her brother's pink shirts that were really big on them,
yeah.
but would be incredibly small on Rindo, and been like, you just need to wear this for the night, dear, I promise. It'll be fine.
Roll for the gun show.
Okay.
All right.
The only good charisma skill I have is intimidating.
It's not.
Roll for
That's
smile.
not the
I
vibe.
feel like
That's not the
it's
vibe.
the opposite of what we want.
I will accept strength from Rindo.
Okay.
Yes. Nyx also would have let Nia dress her. Just gonna put that out there.
Okay.
It's a 23.
Okay.
Nice.
Sure
Nice.
is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's hitting on pretty ladies. She's making connections.
Did you take entertaining since she's like entertaining?
I feel like Nia would be the host.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like in the sense of like an entertaining atmosphere. Like she'd be very much flitting around. Definitely be manning the ice luge quite a bit. Oh, no.
Hey,
That was-
same.
No.
We both got 12s.
What happened to the ice luge and why is it half melted in the corner? Who's been chipping away at it? It's
So-
the height. Let's be real.
So the evening overall is maybe slightly better than an average run-of-the-mill impromptu party in Dirge. Nyx's individual connections are they're not a public highlight at all, but they're a personal victory for Nyx and for the party through the transitive property there. So, Nyx, any additional specific connections you're trying to make beyond just the broader plan that the cobblers have put you up to?
So she's specifically trying to get close to a couple low-level cops. If Letitia's here, definitely Letitia.
Letitia would be there.
Yeah, she's trying to get best friends with Letitia, building off of their previous interaction. And she's probably trying to find one other low-level beat cop that either is going to hit on her or be friends, depending on what vibe she's given off. And try to get two of those in her pocket. And then the third thing she would look for is she would try to look for either a higher level officer or a wife of a higher level officer. So she's going to try to, just as she's talking with people and getting connections, like, oh, you're the wife of Detective so-and-so or Sergeant so-and-so, like...
Okay. Yeah, so Letitia would be there, and again, she was the cop who was cleaning off the graffiti from the youths, so she would be complaining about just this massive outbreak in graffiti across the city.
No, dicks everywhere.
Everywhere. It's so frustrating.
Teenage boys.
Many of the cops would not be in a uniform tonight, but I mean, she's a very striking person. She looks like a blonde human, but with fire engine red skin instead, due to her fiend blood traits that have come out. And another low-level cop, or associate of a cop, would be an Urcow named Lorena.
Is that another Urcow?
It's another Urcow. Her name is Lorena. She has black bear features. She is only slightly taller than you. She doesn't strike the larger, more imposing figure that Hosea does, or that Hosea would if he knew how to be intimidating.
Is she Hosea's age? This is important.
She is 35-ish.
I don't remember how old Hosea was.
Hosea's like late 40s, early 50s.
Yes. All right.
It's happening.
Matchmaking in the progress.
So keeping it like not going into specific conversations, that's the goal with her, is to start trying to set her up with Hosea.
Oh yeah, now it is.
Okay, great. Let me write her name down before I forget. Lorena. Black Bear Urcow. And then the spouse of the higher up who you would meet, Evangeline McMurray.
McMurray's wife, huh?
This is McMurray's wife.
Mrs. McMurray.
Mrs. McMurray. She's human, medium brown skin, mid-40s. She looks like she'd normally be very professional and upkept, but she's definitely a lot more loose tonight. Some of the Rose Petal Breeze, was that the name of the drink?
Yes.
She's double fisting those currently as you're talking with her.
Hell yeah.
All of those connections go very well based on your previous role. And so you can call back on them basically at any point as needed. They think of you very favorably. And both Rindo's establishment and the three of you that are here over the course of this evening gain a significant uptick in goodwill with the Dirge Police Department.
Cool.
Yay.
Now, I'd like to turn to both Gregory and Geist and focus on them a little bit more over the next day. The three of you that were at the party are going to likely be sleeping in and then doing some cleanup. So let's turn to first Gregory. Anything in particular, or more head down, don't look at me, don't pay attention to me?
Well, so I've been thinking now during my little downtime when I had time to think. Obviously, there's guns in Dirge. What is the gun market like? Is it black market? Are there gun stores? What's the deal?
Yeah, the gun market, you would find a variety. Obviously, black market, you can find cheaper. There's no quality control. It's obviously illegal. The higher quality, guaranteed to work guns, or guns that would require additional paperwork that you could procure legally, would be around, especially in Prosperity Heights, Bluffstone Heights, Capitol Hill, kind of the southeast of the city.
So if I want to sell a gun that isn't mine on paper, I would have to go the black market route, I'm assuming?
It would be advisable. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Advisable. Right, yeah, that's what I figured. I'm trying to offload this heavy rifle that I have, because that is quite a bit of money, and I can't use it. I have no plans on intending to use it, because it requires strength, and I don't think I'm gonna do that. So I guess maybe I would ask some of the cobblers at Rhonda's if they're in the market for buying a gun.
Sure.
Or ask around people that I know are a little more shady if they want to buy a gun.
Yeah, I mean, the cobblers, I'll have you make a charisma roll, talking with one of the Trubies here at the cause.
Persuading?
Yeah, persuading.
Gonna be a 26.
Nice. Okay. You happen to find Pete. Would you be willing to approach him, or are you going to try to find someone who's not Pete?
I mean, he did break into my house and leave me a gun, I think. It was from P. I think it was him.
That was the initial.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who else I have to approach, really.
He puts down his coffee. He's getting up to walk away.
Hey, Pete.
Oh, Gregory, yes. Can I help you?
Hey, yeah, I got a question for you. So I got this the other day. I'll show him, I have the gun with me. I got this the other day. I think that might have come from you. Am I mistaken from that?
You're not mistaken.
Okay, wonderful. Got to the bottom of that. Okay, great. A little bit of tension is released from his neck now that he knows that who did that. His shoulders go up a little bit. He's like, okay, oh, great. It's still terrifying. All right. Well, since you're in the market of giving away guns, would you guys happen to be in the market for procuring a gun? You guys ever shop around? Need more?
Have you come by a gun you intend not to use?
I have, yeah.
Well, absolutely, yes. I'd be happy to take it off your hands.
Oh, sure. Is there any kind of compensation for it? It's a pretty nice gun. It's got some, it's really nice.
For a solid, 3 seconds, he says nothing. And then you do realize I gave you a gun.
Yeah, of course, but the gun that I'm trying to get rid of is not one that I can use. I'd much rather have this pistol.
I will take it off your hands. Are you in need of financing?
I have been looking for some extra cash. It's mainly my main reason for wanting to get rid of this. I also
Gregory.
can't use it. It adds to it.
Gregory, he'll put his hand up on your shoulder. Start there next time, all right? Don't try to hustle me.
His shoulders become tense again.
What do you need?
I need something to get rid of this. I need some money. I need to get rid of this. It's what I've got to sell. I just need some extra cash.
I'm happy to consider spotting you some extra cash. What do you need it for?
Got some bills I need to pay.
2.
For my parents. I want to help them a little bit.
I'm more than willing to help. I need to know if the money is going to make its way to anyone who has interest averse from those of the cobblers.
Absolutely not. You got my word for that.
That's all you're giving me. I'll take the gun off your hands. I'll spot you 100.
100? I was hoping for, a little bit more.
I need a little more information.
Information about what? Where the money's going?
Where the money's going.
Got a sick family member. Got a sick family member trying to
medical bills.
Alleviate some of their financial pressure.
Gregory, honesty is worth its weight in gold.
I'm telling you the truth. I want nothing more to do with the money than to give it to my parents.
I believe you. I believe you're telling me the truth. Start with the truth next time, all right? Trust that I'll meet you in good faith.
Okay, the whole thing makes me nervous. I've got a gun here. I've got a gun at home. I've never had to sell a gun before.
Do you want me to pick it up so you don't have to deal with it again on the streets?
The thought terrifies me, but you've dropped one off before. Who am I to stop you?
You'll find your money in your bedside table.
Thank you, Pete.
You're very welcome, Gregory. We'll pan over to Geist over the next few days. So this is the next 4 days after Ladies' Night. Effectively, this is going to bring the grand timeline to 2 weeks out from the wedding.
I think besides some of the jobs, some of the content that Geist was already getting up to in the recent days, I think it would be important for him to possibly follow up with Slaughter. That name's come up a number of times. And at least running by, checking in, seeing what information they have, especially if I have a connection through Archie now. I think it's a very reasonable thing to do. I've also made it pretty clear that as his secondary profession as an inquisitor, he does odd jobs for people and continues going sleuthing and hunting. I would check in with some of the other individuals that I've pulled jobs for, see if they have any additional work. Oftentimes, those jobs lead to additional information on occult activity like Molitor in and around Dirge, so a little bit of double dipping as well.
Perfect. Okay, so the working on building out and doing more jobs for people, I think that we'll leave that one kind of on the back narration. That is going on, and you are doing that. You are checking in on people whom you haven't heard from in some time and shoring up those connections. So that's something that you'll be able to lean back on as needed in future sessions as well. I do want to focus in briefly on your conversation with Slaughter. So with a connection both from Archie and from Geraldine, you were able to find Slaughter's auto shop in Mire Depths and approach him. He's in an open garage working. His head is buried under the hood of a car as you approach him. He hears you coming and he pushes up. He is a large dragonfolk fellow wearing greasy overalls. He steps back from his car and he just puts on the friendliest smile. Greetings. Slaughter's the name. Can I help you with something? Doesn't look like you have a car that needs fixing.
No, I do not own an automobile. Slaughter's the name. Geist is mine. I was just coming by for a bit of information, if you have a moment. If you're busy, I can wait. No problem.
I can talk and tinker at the same time, long as you don't find it too rude.
No, please. Continue. Do what you have to do. We have some mutual acquaintances, in fact. I am friends with Archie, and I believe you also know Geraldine, not terribly far away. They referenced you. I'm doing an inventory, a survey of sorts, you could say, of some of the recent events happening in and around Mire Depths, trying to get a better understanding and he kind of leans in, if you've been experiencing any troubles, any issues. I'm digging in, some detective work, you could say.
Well, there's quite a bit to unpack there. Forgive me, first, how is Archie?
I'd be lying if I said that everything was fine, but Archie has a place to stay, has a job, has food. I've made sure they have some new clothes as well. Archie's doing better and better by the day.
That's wonderful to hear, thank you. And as to your other question, I apologize. This particular piston was rather thought-provoking.
Well, do you mind if I watch? I don't own an automobile, but I'm remarkably interested in how they operate.
Yeah, he will begin to just narrate happily. Like, this is really getting him going. You're lubricating the conversation, as it were.
Yeah, as one does.
As one does. Yeah, so he's happy to converse with you about Geraldine. And I was checking a note, so can you remind me the other portion that you wanted to ask him about?
Yeah, thinking about any issues, troubles that they've had. If they have noticed anything, this is trying to connect a couple of pieces. The info network of shopkeepers in and around this area, what they've seen, what they've heard, if there have been any issues, and then very cautiously approaching the idea of a protection racket based on what they share. We're not quite there for actually initiating the protection racket, but it's never too early to plant seeds.
Right. Yeah, so he has noticed an uptick in graffiti, certainly. And
it happens.
Obviously, there have been a lot of murmurs about Molitor, so he's a little bit on edge. You can tell that there are concerns, especially given his history with Archie that you're aware of, and you know that Archie has been in trouble with the McDoverns, as you have. So that has clearly bled over to Slaughter a little bit.
Listen, I don't come here poking and prodding, trying to bring trouble to your door. In fact, I'm trying to do the opposite. I own a shop myself over in Greenbanks. I'm trying to ensure that other individuals aren't struggling. I've had some troubles of my own in recent years. But what Archie said about the trouble they've experienced with McDoverns, is there more to that? I want to take care of Archie, but I understand bringing them into my shop and bringing them into my home has been risky in and of itself. What type of trouble did they get into, if you don't mind me asking? I just want to know what I'm getting into.
Look, guys, you seem like a nice fellow. That's not my story to tell, not my place. Talk with Archie.
Yeah, that's very fair. Very fair.
Over the course of ensuing chit-chat about automobile parts and the functions of an engine in a Rossini Model A, are you going to press for the protection racket angle now, or just establish the connection and then withdraw?
I think he'd be a little bit hesitant to push too terribly hard onto the protection racket, but I think what he would lean into is the fact that Geraldine told him to go and talk to Slaughter. So Slaughter must be some pivotal community member here. He must hold some power or hold some weight with the others. So maybe poking and prodding and seeing why he was recommended. I think going in blind or cold here is a little bit too risky, but just trying to get an understanding of why Geraldine recommended him.
Yeah, do you have intuiting?
Yes, I do.
All right, I'd love an awareness roll with intuiting.
It's going to be an 11.
Okay. It's hard to tell for sure other than just the fact that they're obviously good friends. Geraldine spoke very fondly of Slaughter. Slaughter speaks rather highly of Geraldine as well. They are both shop owners of very different varieties, but, they both understand the life of running a shop under the shadow of the pit where maximum security criminals are kept in mire depths, which has some cleanliness issues, even by Dirge standards, but also which has constant police patrols. So there's some good, there's a lot of bad, there's also a lot of people just trying to live their life. So you get the sense that the two of them have just lived a lot of life together and with other shopkeepers in the region.
Makes complete sense. I think with that kind of middle ground read, he would leave the conversation with something like, well, again, I just wanted to come stop by. You were highly recommended to check in. I'm doing my best to put together, you could call it a community of sorts of local shopkeepers here around Belleton, Mire Depths, Greenbank. Here, let me give you my card. And if we happen to come together, you hear something that could benefit our establishments, I hear something that could benefit your establishment. What I'm getting at here, Slaughter, is we should be looking out for each other.
Couldn't agree more, and a friend of Geraldine's is certainly a friend of mine. I will take you up on that, Geist.
Well, I'll call on you if I hear of anything else. Thank you for your time, and thank you for showing me around this Model A. Remarkably interesting.
Perfect, and we'll pan back to the cleanup and any aftermath from Ladies' Night. I do want to quickly say thank you to that one joke guy for submitting Slaughter.
Nice.
Yeah, so back in the new lease, Rindo and Nyx and Nia, you certainly can stay together if you wish. You can also diverge, so we'll start specifically with Nia, keeping in loose initiative order. If you have any specific plans between Ladies' Night and the end of this week, that brings you to the 2-week anniversary of your own marriage.
Time flies. Time flies. Newlywed bliss. Oh. I think obviously she would definitely help with the cleanup for sure. She'd be very interested in what Nyx was able to gather from that evening, because I imagine in her playing hostess with the mostest, she would have done her best to not really talk much with Nyx or Rindo, just so that she was keeping up with everybody else. She knows that they know what they're doing, but she'd be very interested in if they learned anything, what it may be, or who they connected with. I think beyond that, I know she wants to figure out the vial that was given to her from Arya. She wants to get that to somebody who could kind of like do some sort of, I don't know, Dirge CSI chemical read in the lab on that one, if that's possible at all. But that, I think, would be more of a, she would try to figure out somebody she knows and sort of pass it along.
Well, good news, you know someone who knows someone.
Perfect.
Bad news, that someone is your mother.
Gross.
Ooh,
All right.
bring the sherry.
Yeah, good thought, good thought. All right. She knows somebody. She's not the one who would know.
Clarissa knows somebody.
Okay. I definitely then would probably have a conversation with her at some point in the week. Although it would be way more fun to find out what Nyx learned. But yes, she would definitely have to talk to Clarissa at some point.
My dear, how have you been?
Oh, mother, just newly wedded bliss.
Oh, don't I know? Where is your bodyguard?
Oh, he, I gave him the day off. He's been very busy lately.
Morgiana Coriadine? The reason
Mother.
I got you a bodyguard is to guard your body. You can't
I
just give your
understand
bodyguard a day
that.
off.
Well, he drove me here at least, or got me here, so that he made sure my body got here safely, and then I assumed your bodyguards would be able to keep me safe once I got. Should I not be trusting your guards here at the house anymore, Mother? I'm going to tell him you said that. That's just the hesitation alone is all I needed. And as she walked through the hall, she'd be hollering to any guard she saw. Alan, Mother doesn't trust you anymore.
Morgiana,
Rubber.
there are days I'm glad you're not in me household anymore. What is it you want?
Well, I have come into possession of something that I'm hoping you might be able to help me identify a bit
Did you
better
hear
what
that,
it is.
Alan? Daughter needs her mother.
Mark the day on the calendar. You don't get many of them. I have, and it's just the two of them in the room.
Alan is in the doorway, but
Okay.
you can direct him to duck around the corner.
Alan, could you perhaps... What was that accent? Did you hear that?
I thought that's what you
Alan.
were asking him to do. Could you perhaps...
It's great, though. Toity. Alan, could you perhaps, I don't know, get us a beverage, maybe?
Yeah, he'll scurry off. What can a mother do for her daughter?
You know that lad that was dear friends with my new husband, Nicholas, the fellow who died?
Of course. Terrible thing.
It was awful, and Mother Sheldon is heartbroken, and I'm embarrassed to say, I don't know how to be a wife, and you see the man every morning, and he's so sad, and nevertheless, I think I maybe know what happened to Nicholas, and she's going to just put the little vial on the table. I cannot tell you how, where, or who I got this from, but a very good resource has led me to believe that this might have been what hurt him, and I feel like if we could figure out what this has in it, we might be able to prevent it from happening to somebody else or stop the person who's doing this. Do you know anyone, Mother? Let me rephrase. I know you know somebody, Mother. Please help me figure out.
Yes, I do. Why? I mean, provided that we can figure it out, it's not so much about not using it, it's about us using it, right?
Perhaps. I mean, it certainly would be good to have the information in our back pocket.
And of course, an antidote in case anyone. Of course, little of column A, little of column B. I'm with you. Yes, Catelyn Mao would be my contact. Well, really, your uncle Samuel made the contact, but yes, I can. Catelyn lives in Rumble Row, and you know the signals to look out for. The little noose hanging outside the shop. Yes, it'll be there.
Yes. All right. Very good. Catelyn Brew. All right. I'll take this and appreciate your help.
Not too far from Paige and Teller.
Okay. I can remember that. She'll take her little vial back and tuck it away in one of her many pockets, and thank you, Mother.
Do you need Alan for the day? Since you gave your own bodyguard the day off.
If I know my bodyguard, he is waiting outside of the fence right now, and he will say something about, "Oh, I was just taking a walk, miss. Nothing to be worried about, miss." And he would have waited for me
I did.
the
I did.
entire
You did a good
day.
job.
You did. You found a very, very good bodyguard. Oh,
Sticky.
I do
It's a
have.
good quality in a bodyguard.
I do have one, and she's gonna reach into one of her deeper coat pockets and pull out her brother's shirt that Rendo wore to ladies' night that I imagine is probably destroyed. If you don't mind, that would be
What did you
one of
do
the
to
twins.
Felix's?
Oh, was it Felix's? Oh no, I thought it was one of the twins. It's no wonder it didn't fit him as well. Felix. He's pretty pipsqueak compared. Okay, yeah. Well, tell Felix it wasn't really his color anyway, and I was the one who made that decision, and he'll be fine with it, I'm sure. Okay, Mother, I must be going now.
She'll wave you off, hold up the tattered shirt in dismay. And Nyx, over the remainder of the week, is there anything in particular that you want to get up to?
So, yeah, for these couple of days, it's okay that Nia and Nyx didn't have the conversation because Nyx would have been cagey as shit about what she learned. Very giving information with giving absolutely nothing. She would take these days to try to repair her relationship with Hosea. Now also having this lovely black bear in her pocket to throw into the mix.
How would you go about tracking down Hosea?
I imagine that there's records of his like political office somewhere, whether it be town hall or something, like not his location, but where he runs out of as a politician.
Okay.
So she would either ask for Gregory's help or just go to the town hall or something like that to find out what kind of politician he is and where.
Mm-hmm. I would make you roll, but you've got the archivist feature, so over like at most a day, you're able to find that information. Okay.
Yeah, so she would do that quickly, and then she would stop at her parents' house when she knew they weren't there and leave them a note that she's fine and she loves them and she just missed them, and then spend the rest of the time just continuing to build up the teen network. And at this point, she would start to introduce them to the idea of Nyx as Moose. So saying, like, Nyx is the contact, she's the cool chick, she's the hot chick, she's the, like, trust her too. Basically using her to make her their leader in a very convoluted way so that Moose could slowly start to disappear a little bit out of the limelight and Nyx could present herself at Geist Shop if she needed to. And
yeah, so as Moose, you're setting up Little Dicky as second in command and mentioning that Nyx is like your equal so that when Moose disappears, Nyx can swoop in and fill the void before Little Dicky does.
Or letting Dicky fill that void, but having him report to Nyx.
Sure. Okay.
Right. So I think that would be her main thing, aside from, just keeping up, working at Rhonda's, trying to get blackmail where she can, and building out that information that they need to have, because now they've got some cops in the pocket. They need to have the blackmail to back it up.
Perfect. There is definitely that development happening over this past week. There are unerring spheres that are sequestered aside in some of the hidden rooms in Rhonda's, so that is going according to plan, as well as you could imagine.
Nice. And she would, I think at this point, there would be a very beautiful mural painted on Geist's wall. And she would make sure to do that when he wasn't there.
Nice. Do you have the painting skill?
No.
Okay.
But she can dance, and she's going to do abstract painting through movement. So it's not going to be specific, but it's going to be very color and movement. And he gave us a bunch of books on color theory, so...
It's true.
That's right. You use your archivist feature as a surrogate for that. Okay. Yeah, aside from further accompanying Nia on various endeavors, Rindo, is there anything you want to tend to?
Yeah, on my day off, I want to go to Geist's shop and see if he's there, if I can have a little chat. Hello? Geist, you around?
Ah, Rindo, what brings you in? Where's Nia?
With her mum, gave me the day off, actually.
Oh, that's very good of her. Well, come in. How can I help you?
Thanks. I was wondering, in all your books and knowledge on Molitor, there's someone I saw that I haven't seen before. I'm wondering if maybe there's some kind of knowledge out there on her, or who she is, what she does. Seems to be some sort of contract binder.
Hold on, I have a few questions. First, Rindo, are you saying that there's some new member, some high up in the organization, some new figurehead that we should be worried about? Or are you saying something else? Or does this person have a name?
Well, you see, I don't think she's that high up. Her name's Fidelity.
And you said a contract dealer of some kind. Can you be more specific? The more information you can provide, the easier it is for me.
She's got horns, not like mine. They go back, and 2 people can put their hands on them, and it makes some sort of binding contract, I think.
Are they a fiend blood or are they a hellspawn like you?
Did I know that by looking at her?
Fiend blood. I think it would make sense that Rendo would be able to tell, even if,
Okay.
a human might not quite make out the difference between them.
She ain't like me. She's fiend blood.
Interesting. Well, that's
But
not.
I don't think she wants to be there.
Well, neither of these things are remarkably unsurprising to me. It's not unheard of for, depending on various proclivities of someone of the fiend blood lineage, to be able to understand contracts and deals better than others. I don't know much about it myself, but I've read smidge here and there. If they're not interested in staying and working, Rindo, are you thinking about trying to break them out like I pulled you out?
Yeah, if it's even possible, yeah.
I can do some research for you, Rindo. I would be more than happy to do so. From my gut, currently, if someone is able to offer and bind contracts, I would be worried that there's something drafted keeping them there in their employ. It might be more challenging than simply removing them from the space. We might need to break whatever bindings hold them there.
Okay, yeah, they seem to keep her locked up, I think. I don't know if
It's
Mia and I go
disgusting
back
what
there,
they do
I'll
to them.
try to keep more of an eye out. Yeah, it really is.
Rindo, I want to say that I'm remarkably proud of you for being willing to go back in there. It's a den of vipers. Would have been challenging for me to keep a straight face and to keep my rage in check when I walked through the doors.
I know, mate. It's alright.
I'll find what I can. If there's something helpful that comes across my desk, I will surely hold it for you. I'll put on some feelers as well. Though, that reminds me, while you're here, I'm looking for something. One of the cards, Kiris Mara foil, seems to have gone missing. You wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Oh, what? No, of course not. Gonna look down at a watch that I'm not wearing. Oh, sorry. I gotta pick up Nia. Up. See you later, mate. Thanks so much for your time. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Perfect. We'll quickly go back to Gregory. I'm going to do a little bit of a lightning round over the beginning of the next week, and then midweek there will be some stuff that focuses in a little bit more on each of the characters. So, Gregory, at some point when you head back to your apartment, you would find that your heavy rifle is gone, and in little sheaves of paper money, there is the equivalent of 1,000 silver coins.
Holy
Oh
shit.
my god.
Yeah, but what's the interest rate?
I think they got a pretty good deal for only giving me 1,000 for that. That is a 1,500 silver coin gun.
He offered 100.
Yes, exactly. Wow. He said he could front me. I will put the money in a safe place for now. I wonder if I have like a safe or something.
You can make a luck check if you want to. We'll see like how secure your apartment is. What all you have.
How secure? It's been broken into twice. That's an 18.
Some kind of small handheld safe, yeah. I mean, someone could pick it up and carry it away, but they couldn't necessarily open it. It's fairly robust in terms of like the locks and hinges. It'd take a lot to get through it.
Yeah, I'll put it in there and like tuck it underneath my bed, I guess, in some place it could never really be seen unless you're really trying to search for it. I will keep hold of that money for now.
Perfect. Geist, the first half of this next week, anything in particular?
I think just continuing to dig in to the information network. The idea of that simply working after just a couple of days or a week seems fairly unlikely. So I think really hitting it in for that second week, seeing what comes from that, continuing to follow up. I believe he would ask the question of Archie, both as proof that he's willing to get to know him, but also just for own personal protection. You know, what really happened, trying to get to know Archie a little bit more, continuing with the Molitor research, continuing to do some odd jobs here and there if time permits, still waiting on the Gentleman Brigands. Beyond that, I think he's trying to make sure that he's not reaching out too much to the rest of the party so that we can all be dispersed, do our own thing. but still keeping a line out to Gregory because I know that we have that fishing line out there talking about doing that stakeout.
Perfect. So, couple notes on that. One, with Archie, he's a little bit cagey about it. I mean, he'll rehash some of the top level stuff that he's talked with you about, that he was an investigative reporter, investigated the wrong people that were connected to the McDoverns, and as a result, they ruined his life. He would get into a little bit of the means, how they went about that, acquiring his home, raising rent, at the same time putting pressure on his place of business, so really hitting him from a few different legal, quote-unquote, venues to force him out onto the streets.
Right.
He does not get into more personal detail than that, but you can tell there's more to the story.
Okay. Geist is clever enough to know when to push and when not to push, and continuing to build the bridge is most important. Really, what Geist is trying to get at is, what did he find? Right? If you got your life ruined because you looked at some individuals, you found something they didn't want you to find, that's what we need, but he's willing to play the long game to get it.
Yeah, you're on track playing the long game. That information has not come forth yet, but you sense that it could if you continue to cultivate this.
Yeah. And just one final thing in closing, very small, very minor. In the back of his head, now that it's been a couple of days out, a week over out, Geist is going through his mental catalog of where he's going to be able to take Nyx once this next section of the mission is over. He wants to scope out a location. Nyx wanted it to be important to him, but locations that are important to him might not come across as good, positive locations to another person. So he's trying to weigh the pros and cons of, do I take her to the house that I, broke in and beat the shit out of these people? Do I take her to the place that I was held prisoner for a number of years, or do I lie and just, go down the Riverwalk type of thing? Really challenging decisions to make.
Yeah. Good thoughts. I also want to touch on some of the information you're gathering from your networks, both with the youths and with the unhoused folk. And Gregory would be getting some of this information as well. Each of you would through your different venues. Nyx, Nia, Rindo through the cops. Gregory just through his typical lines of investigation with the Red Line Press. So each of you are aware in some level that Molitor has been pretty quiet for the past 10, 12 days. There hasn't been a whole lot of activity from them specifically, at least not a whole lot of aggression from them. The ingots have successfully pushed into South Bellaton a little bit, so there's some tension there. And there's just some nervousness there, given a lack of obvious response from Molitor. Similarly, the Cobblers have been starting to move in on Mire Depths and working on the racketeering that you've all set up a little bit. Geist does not have to fully tend to the racketeering, like the cheeky Cobblers themselves are using slightly more muscular tactics and playing it from the other end, so they're making progress there. And again, Molitor has been pretty quiet. There haven't been dramatic skirmishes in the streets or anything of that nature. And this could be great news. Obviously, it's unsettling for everyone. Pete, Bill, Sheldon, they all seem pretty stressed. In the interactions you've had with them, there's an air of worry, kind of waiting for the hammer to drop. I mean, otherwise, aside from what's coming next, the plans seem to be going pretty well. The city as a whole, disentangling this from the criminal element that's going on here, the city as a whole is getting ready for Marissa O'Reilly Dove's appearance in town to do a series of presidential campaign events and rallies. So there's more folk on the streets trying to clean up all of the trash griffin and other animal, like fecal matter that's everywhere, trying to clean up some of the sewage and refuse from the streets, just get the city to look a little bit nicer for a new presidential candidate to come in. Not that she's more important than the three that live in Dirge, but she doesn't live in Dirge, so let's put on a good face for the person who comes in from out of town. So that's just a backdrop to what's going on this week as each of you are going about your affairs. And to bump back up to Gregory briefly, you would get a note delivered to your cubicle of the Red Line Press asking for a second night out with Tamisa.
When?
Wow.
She'd say that she is available on Dimian Day, the 10th, Friday in our world. So coming up at the end of this current week.
When's the stakeout again?
So that's a little bit flexible. You know that the drug deals are recurring, and you and Geist have a connection with one another. So you could use it as an excuse. Sorry, I'm doing a stakeout. Or you could schedule them differently so that you can work both angles.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Bring her to the stakeout.
You would agree?
I'll agree to the date, yep.
Okay,
Night out. The night out.
perfect.
Not a
Yes.
date. Night out.
Just friends. Just friends.
Yes. All right, so Nia, first you would be able to make that connection with Catelyn Mao. She is
Sure.
a Kedek. She's got seal point cat features. She's got the creamy blonde fur, sleek physique, dark brunette fur around her face and her feet and hands. She's older, late 60s. She would beckon you into her shop. It would remind you of the Whispering Winds, just in terms of its self-owned, hole-in-the-wall bookstore vibe, but instead of odds and ends, it's just chemicals. It looks unsafe. The shelves are rickety. Some of the vials are balanced on top of one another in haphazard ways. There's a still with the coil going on, and something is brewing in the back, and there's steam bubbling out from it.
Oh my goodness, Miss Meow. How long have you been here? This place is glorious.
Words are too kind, Nia. Been here many, many years. Dear friend of your uncle, I do hope he's doing well in the pit.
Oh, don't we all? We hope they're all doing well as one can in the pit. I have something that my mother believes you might be able to help me with.
Well, must be something of the alchemical variety, I am sure. If you think
Yes.
that I am one to help you with it, ooh, let me see.
Nobody else in her shop.
Nobody else in her shop.
Right. She's going to just place the little vial on the counter. I have it on good authority that this killed a young man who was otherwise very, very healthy, and in a way that was quite quick. I'd like to know
Tell
what the
me
makeup
more.
of it. I can definitely get you more of the specific details later. I don't have them all written down at the moment, but I'm hoping that you might be able to discern what this is made of so that we could both create some sort of anecdote and possibly reproduce if we needed to.
Certainly, yes. I'd love to run experiments on this. It will take me a few days and stop back, and I'll let you know what I've learned.
Thank you. Is there anything you else need from me?
No, not at this time. Lovely to see another Severs all grown up and bringing me poisons.
You know, this is the family way.
And she'll leave you. She'll start working on it. That is underway.
Perfect.
Nyx, first half of this week.
Nyx would hang some pink shorts out on her line
Mhm.
and start her prep for President Foe. So she'd kind of be head down, studying up, remembering his political history, what she could find, just trying to make herself as knowledgeable as she can be
Okay.
to start kind of prepare for that big meeting that she has coming up.
Perfect. So on that Sill Day, Tuesday, Stephen would appear at Rhonda's, calling on Nyx.
Great.
And he would say, couple things, Nyx. First, Orobier Foe has had a cancellation, and I know it's not much of moving it up, but I could squeeze you in tomorrow evening if you have time to.
That's so soon. Yes, no, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And myself, I'm free on Dimian Day as well. If you'd be interested in going to Time to Dine, certainly not at the
You mean time to eat?
Caviar Crapyard. Yes.
Crapyard is the most appropriate name I've heard for it. Yeah, absolutely. Stephen.
Thank you. I look forward to it. And to
introducing you to President Poe. I know the two of you connected briefly.
Do you have any advice? I'm quite nervous.
He has been in politics longer than either of us have been alive.
Even combined, actually.
Yes. So my only advice would be honest with him. Don't. Obviously, we all have secrets. I understand that. What I would say is think about what you want to ask him. Think about what you're willing to tell him about yourself. If at any point in the interview it strays into territory you're uncomfortable with, simply say so. Don't try to make up half-truths or falsehoods because he will sniff them out.
Oh, right. Don't lie. It's good to know. I appreciate that. Do you know why he agreed to meet with me? I mean, I really appreciate it, but I was honestly a little bit surprised that he said yes.
In the least offensive way possible, I have no idea.
That's great. That's fantastic. That makes me feel so much better, Stephen. Thank you. I'm sure it will be fine. Absolutely. Just be
He's
myself.
a great man. Just be yourself.
It's so easy to do. Such a simple task. Thank you, Stephen. I look forward to our date. You can pick me up here. Not at Gregory's place, but no flowers this time. I hate flowers.
Understood.
And she will panic because that's very soon and she was not expecting it
Yeah.
to get moved up.
Right. Yeah, that's the next day.
Yep.
And then that night you'd be able to debrief with Tony as well.
Yeah. So she would check in with him, give him the update that it got moved up and it is now tomorrow. And she would check in to see if he learned anything further about Nia or Geist.
Yeah, he would indicate that he's been looking into Geist in particular and has found that he's had a history of roughing people up in cults.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Cobblers themselves are no friends of the law, so Tony's not going to prejudge. And as far as he can tell, Geist has been on what Tony would consider the right side of any of the conflicts that he's been in.
Okay. So she would probably tell Tony to stop looking into him then.
Okay.
She would trust Tony's judgment. She would also say it in a way that suggested she was slightly emotionally compromised, so Tony would pick up on that.
Okay.
She would clear all of that with him, and she would see if he could get the Cobblers to buy her an outfit for the faux meeting tomorrow, because she doesn't have anything to wear to this very important meeting.
He'll prioritize that, and he'll work on looking into the Nia situation as well.
Yeah, so that would be the three things.
Perfect. And, Rendo, we've got your schemes, your dreams of extracting fidelity from Molitor, but at present, until you're ready to make more definitive moves, is there anything else that you'd like to focus on?
Nothing that would take any serious action. I think he's probably still cleaning glitter out of New Lease and just trying to keep up appearances with hopefully new clientele that's showing up more regularly, and just keeping a close eye on Nia, making sure that she's okay. If there seems to be any change in her demeanor, if she seems to start getting anxious or pulling away, or just making sure that he can be there in case something comes up.
Perfect. Would anything come up between Rendo and Nia?
Can't really think of anything specific at this point. I feel like they've kind of developed, from Nia's perspective anyway, a pretty good repartee. He seems to respect sort of some of the boundaries that she's putting up as far as when it's appropriate for him to be around or not, and she definitely appreciates that.
He wants to sit down and have a really in-depth, fleshed-out conversation about what happened when they went to the toast and her conversation with Arya, and just debrief what the vibes were like, essentially. But he's cautious about reaching any of that contract and is sort of waiting for, if there's anything Nia wants to share, whatever she can share that wouldn't breach that contract.
For sure. And I think that to that end, she would have presently, in their walk, shared everything that she felt immediately comfortable in knowing that she could. and would otherwise be trying to keep most of it sort of close to her chest based on whatever guidance you had given her, obviously. I think as they were walking and talking, you know, if she was sort of like hesitant to say something and it would explain to you why, if you were kind of like, no, I think it'll be okay, or here is how we can work around that or whatever, should there need to be that, she would have trusted your judgment and would have shared with you at this point anything that she thought would have been pertinent and wouldn't have, again, like I said, hurt anybody.
Yeah, internally it's just kind of a growing list of worry that, are we actually doing the right thing? Are we in more danger than we realize? That kind of running monologue.
Perfect. One final thing before we move to this last day in the rotation. Geist, you would be approached by Jacques at some point in the course of this day, wearing some kind of outrageous costume that means you do not recognize him until he says the appropriate passcode.
I look forward to the outfits every single time, so...
So, a, like, antebellum Southern Belle walks into your store.
Yes.
What a delightful little shop.
It's always say, what a delightful little shop. Well, I'm so glad that you've made it in today. Please feel free, peruse, look around. I don't often get such clientele dressed as fine as you. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let me know. If you're looking for anything in particular, I might be able to direct you.
Well, thank you kindly, and I must say, it is a pleasure to see you on this fine day. And she will tip her lacy hat as she says that.
If Guy's jaw could just like fall all the way down to the ground, because it's perfect. It's perfect. It is perfection in art form as what Jacques does. There's like a 10-second pause before Geist responds and says, well, the pleasure is all mine, to be sure.
The pleasure is all yours. Spare me a pinch, will you not?
I'll spare you so much more than a pinch. I don't know how you do this. Let me close up shop 1 second. And I go and like shutter the blinds and lock the door.
Mm-hmm. Oh, to be perfectly honest, it's very difficult keeping track of all of these accents, all of these accessories.
I just don't know exactly where you get the mold for that. Is that latex that you wear? How do you pull it off your face so quickly? How do you do that so perfectly with these masks?
He's massaging his mustache, trying to get it to unstick from where it's like pressed into his skin. Now that the mask is off. Essentially, he will convey to you that the gentlemen brigands don't have any action items for you at this time. They just wanted to give you an update based on the intelligence that they gathered as part of the operation that you conducted at the wedding. They are casing out a member of the Bangino family, getting ready for a job that will involve the McDovern family through the Bangino family. So they're planning this whole other thing. They may tap you, along with anyone that you know that might be good at smooth talking in stressful situations, and will essentially let you know that basically be on call. It will be a while. You know the gentlemen brigands move slowly to set up all of their dominoes in the right order so that when they are ready to enact a plan, everything falls in the place it's supposed to. Probably will be a few weeks before they expect to call on you. Just know that the wheels are in motion there with the scheme that they're building up. And it directly pertains to both the old mob families of Dirge and the upcoming election. So they're working on a lot of different angles here.
Gotcha. I think that's what Geist really respects about this group in particular, how effective and how they try to perfect what their desires and what their missions are. He would want them to be aware that he believes he's been somewhat compromised with the McDoverns, that they have more than likely bugged his shop. He believes that he has collected all of them and reset them, but that they had sent a message by leaving a, quote, donation of silver coins on behalf of the McDoverns to let him know that he had been essentially caught.
Jacques will take that information in stride. Do you feel safe enough in your establishment, or is a relocation in order?
I feel more than comfortable here in my establishment, but if that changes, I will let you know. But I've dealt with much worse than a couple of empty threats. If they bring actual harm, well, I will do my job, but I will protect myself.
Jacques will take his leave. And so now we're moving into the Scarlin day of this week. This would be Wednesday. And this would be the day that Orobiefo has moved up his interview with Nyx. For the sake of everyone having something going on, I'd like to pitch this to you all. Let's have this be the stakeout night and the night that Nia has been called upon to go back to Catelyn Mao and retrieve the potion.
Sounds good to me.
I like it.
Game for that. I would just like to pitch, if the cobblers are buying Nyx's outfit, Nia would insist on being part of the helping with that.
For sure. Let's do that real quick.
So you told them the night before that you needed money for an outfit, right?
I told Tony that the cobblers needed to buy her an outfit.
Perfect.
Nathan, I don't think Nia would. I mean, I don't know if cobblers working with Nia know Tony, or would it just come from Pete?
I don't think Nia would know Tony. It would come through Pete/Sheldon. It would come through the Truby trio.
She would show up at your door bright and early, obnoxiously early, just knocking on your bedroom door.
Give me a moment. Oh my god, it's barely light out.
Good morning.
Nia. She'd open it up. Why are you here?
You're not ready.
Ready for what?
You have a big meeting today, and I was told that you need to get something to wear, so up and at 'em. Let's go.
And why are you here?
Well, I don't... She's going to lean in a little bit. I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to tell the whole hallway that you needed the cobblers to buy you a dress, but I'm the one with the purse strings.
Buying me. Okay, all right, yes. Do you know what you're buying for? Do you know what direction we're...
Well, I heard you're having a very important meeting with a very important person, and
Yes.
I know what all the very important people wear.
I'm worried, but okay. I'm going for... I want to be important, but I'm not important yet. I don't want to look rich. I want to look like I want to be rich. Right.
Love the distinction. Perfect. Okay, we won't go to the really fancy place I was thinking about. Sheldon will be grateful. But we will go to, like, a kind of fancy place that I know that a lot of girls that I used to go to school with always shopped at because they wanted to look important. It'll be perfect.
Okay. Sure, I will.
Come along, get
Trust
dressed. I've
you.
got hot tea downstairs,
I am
and I brought you a
dressed. Should I wear
biscuit.
something different? What?
This is... You're wearing this. Okay,
I
sure.
own two outfits, Nia. I own two.
Then this is the one that you should be wearing, definitely. Yes, because I've seen your other one, and I don't...
No, I mean aside from the... yes, all right, fine. We'll go. You can dress me up.
It'll be so fun.
It'll be something like that.
She's gonna take her to a shop. It's the Elwoods moment. They're gonna find the best, like, most professional outfit that is still very, very cute and very, like, makes Nyx look so put together and like an up-and-coming young lady. How do you feel about ruffles?
No ruffles. No, I want to be able to use this for other things, and if it's a ruffle, I will just rip it on purpose off.
Okay.
Because I hate them.
Okay, well, we're not going to do that, but okay. I think you can definitely still use a ruffle for more than one thing, but I understand what you're trying to say.
I mean, maybe we go with a nice lace.
Lace could be nice. She's going to find her a really nice lace blouse. She's going to find her a really beautiful skirt. Nice little vest moment. Oh, no, a little jacket moment. Bolero. A little short jacket with a little button. Oh, that looks fantastic.
I'll make it work.
What do you mean make it work? You look beautiful.
I mean, you see what I wear on a daily basis. This is just a bit different. That's all.
Well, it suits you. You might try dressing like that a little bit more often. You might be surprised. You're very bright, Nyx. You could get very far in this world.
If I just try. Yes, we'll see how this meeting goes.
Sure.
You'll miss me, Nia. I can't go too far.
Right. Sure. Neil, go and pay for the items. And do you have shoes? We're running short on time. I want to make sure you're ready, though.
I mean, I wear my normal shoes. What shoes are you talking about?
I guess your skirt's pretty long, and that'll cover any shoes you're wearing anyway, right?
I feel really judged right now.
No, it wasn't me judging. That was more me wondering if you just wanted a nice pair of shoes for this occasion also.
Sure, Nia. You know what? Go wild. It's your money.
All right. I'm just gonna look at it. What size do you wear?
8.5.
Your shoes will be waiting for you at your house.
That's slightly terrifying. Okay. Thank you.
Just trust. You'll have
Trust.
the perfect shoes.
Trust. Okay. Thank you, Nia. I greatly appreciate today.
I've enjoyed spending some time with you lately, for what it's worth. I don't have many girlfriends, and this family is all boys.
As is your family.
Exactly.
Us girls have to stick together, right?
I'd like
More
to think so.
outings. Less nail polish.
Sure.
To clarify real quick, when you say they'll be waiting at your house, do you mean Rhonda's or do you mean her parents' house?
Oh, God. That's true.
I think it would be Rhonda's. That would be
Okay.
the only place that I think Nia would associate as like her house.
Okay.
But yeah, in that way too, because she's going to actually get a pair of shoes from her private collection at her mother's house. You're welcome to have, because somebody gifted them to her and they were too big, and they're beautiful.
Perfect. So we will pan out and watch 3 individual parties disperse in different directions as Nyx heads to Capitol Hill to meet with former President Arobie Foe, as Gregory and Geist head deep into the alleys of Bellowton to stake out a drug deal, and as Nia and Rindo head into Rumble Row, head through some zigs and zags in the alleyways, a couple rats squeaking and skittering in the alleys, and make it back to Catelyn Mao's shop. And that is where we will leave the heroes for this week. This has been The Ties That Bind. Jump into our Discord, discord.gg/mythcraft, to discuss this episode. Check out patreon.com/quasi-real publishing for a variety of subscription tiers, a variety of different rewards, and until next time, keep crafting those myths.
All right, I'm going to thank all of the wonderful teens that have helped me paint this beautiful mural outside of the Whispering Winds. Angela Holmes, Daniel Trout, David Roraff. Listen, I understand we started with dicks, but we can't always do dicks. You have to branch out. Jesse Frischgrab, Corey Griffin, Luke Wick-Williams. The color choices, they just weren't there. We read the books on color theory. You cannot put those colors together. We have to learn, we have to grow. Michael Porterhouse, Ryan Scripter. It was a good attempt. You actually did quite well. I would, do a little bit more movement, less time, be less rigid. And then Sunshine Castleford, Blair Little, and Lennis Valkyrie, top tier. Beautiful work. Spread that across the city. You did an amazing job. Thank you, everybody. We are growing. We are doing wonderful things for the city of Dirge.